Welcome into the Daily Bible Podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss the Bible verse of the day, which is Isaiah chapter 12, verse 2. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord, Jehovah, is my strength and my song. He also is become my salvation. To summarize this verse, Isaiah 12:2 invites us into a life of bold, personal, fear-breaking trust. God Himself is our complete salvation, our strength when we're weak, our song when joy feels impossible, and the one who personally stepped in to rescue us. It's not abstract theology. It's lived reality that turns exiles into worshipers and fearful hearts into fearless singers. This verse stands as a radiant declaration of personal faith in the heart of a prophetic song of thanksgiving. And the book of Isaiah, chapters 1 through 11 specifically, paint a vivid picture of judgment on sin and the promise of a coming Messiah who will establish God's kingdom. Then, suddenly, chapter 12 bursts forth like a victory anthem. The people of God, having experienced His anger, turned to comfort and deliverance, lift their voice in praise. This short chapter is essentially two brief psalms, 1 through 2 and 3 through 6, looking forward to a future, quote, new Exodus, if you will, echoing the Israelites' song of crossing the Red Sea in Exodus 15. Isaiah himself, whose name means Yahweh is salvation, models what it looks like to move from fear to fearless joy because God has become everything we need. Here's a brief phrase-by-phrase breakdown. Behold, or the word could be surely, God is my salvation. Behold is a loud, attention-grabbing command. He says, look here, pay attention. It's not a quiet thought, it's a spotlight on truth. Notice it doesn't say, God gives me salvation, or God helps me. It says God is my salvation. The Hebrew word for salvation here is the same root as the name Jesus, Yeshua. In a world of self-help programs and gurus and temporary fixes, this phrase forces us to ask, have I reduced God to a tool? Or is He my actual rescue? The verse insists the rescuer Himself is the rescue. The next phrase, I will trust and not be afraid. This is no passive wish. It's a deliberate, willful decision. He said, I will trust. Trust here isn't blind optimism. It's active reliance rooted in who God has proven Himself to be. And notice the result. Fear is displaced, not denied. The verse doesn't say, when I'm afraid, I'll try to trust. It says, I will trust and not be afraid. I will. In the shadow of empires, exile, and our own modern anxieties, financial ruin, health scares, relational storms, this is revolutionary. Trust doesn't wait for fear to leave. It boots fear out the door. What fear are you still negotiating with instead of evicting? The next phrase, for the Lord Himself, is my strength and my song, or defense. The repetition of the word, the Lord, Hebrew, Yahweh, the covenant name of God, doubles down for emphasis, like underlining and bolding it. He is my strength, not a supplement to my own power, but the very source. When I have none. Think 2 Corinthians 12:9. And He is my song, the calls of joy, and the very melody of praise. Some translators render it defense or might. But the original carries the idea of triumphant music after battle. After God parts the sea or topples your giants, you don't just survive, you sing. Strength for the journey, song for the soul. The next phrase, He has become my salvation. The repetition of the word salvation kind of like bookends the verse like a divine hug. Has become is experiential language. It's not theoretical. It's something that happened in real time. God didn't stay distant. He stepped into the story, turned toward His people, and became what they needed. For ancient Israel, that pointed the future restoration. For us, it echoes the cross and the empty tomb. The same God who rescued us at the Red Sea has now rescued us through Jesus. Salvation isn't a distant concept. It's a person who has drawn near. Let me give you a brief analogy. Imagine standing on the shore of the Red Sea with the Egyptian army thundering behind you. Chariots, spears, certain death, panic arises. Then God parts the waters. You walk through on dry ground. The enemy is swallowed up. In that moment, you don't just thank God for what He did. You sing, "The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation." Exodus 15:2. Fast forward to today. You're the one drowning in debt, diagnosis, or despair. The, quote, army of fear is closing in. But the same God jumps into your chaos, not as a distant lifeguard tossing a rope, but as the one who dives in, pulls you out, wraps you in His arms, trains you to walk on new ground, and put a new song in your mouth. He doesn't just save you once. He becomes your everyday strength, your lifelong melody, your forever rescue. That is the heart of Isaiah 12:2. I think of Psalms chapter 40. I cried out to the Lord, and He heard my cry. He lifted me up from the horrible pit or the miry clay. He set my feet upon a rock or solid ground. He put a new song in my mouth. He is your forever rescue. That's the heart of Isaiah 12:2. And it's available right now. Will you behold Him, trust Him, and let fear be replaced by a song? You know, my pastor, Brother Tim Colley, talks about not losing your song. He talks about in the Old Testament how they hung their harps upon the willow. You know, sometimes when we lose our sight of Christ, or when we begin to doubt, what happens is fear rushes in. It's amazing when we begin to contend with that fear, or contend with the enemy, or contend with just maybe even the situations of life. You know, people sometimes ask me, they'll say, "How are you doing, Johnny?" And a lot of times they know what my answer is going to be. I'll say, well, there's ups and there's downs, but mostly ups. And the reason why there's mostly ups for me is because I have a song. And that song is something that has been with me since Christ has saved me. It is a song, and that song is reliance upon Him, the fact that He holds my tomorrow, that He causes all things to work together for the good of those who love Him and those who are called according to His purpose. So why would I hang my harp upon the willow? Why would I lose my song when the enemy comes in, or when depression comes in, or whenever, I am tested and tempted and tried and those diverse tribulations come my way? I just begin to sing the same song I've been singing all along. The song that I will put my trust in the one who has saved and rescued me, and who has my future in mind. The one who said that the work He began in me, He will bring it to completion. That is, that there is a finish line, and He intends to bring me across it. Not by my faithfulness or by my legs, but by Him. I'm reminded of, a great quote from Martin Luther. He said, "When I look to myself, I do not see how I can be saved. But when I look to Christ, I don't see how I could be lost." Let me end with one more great quote from Charles Haddon Spurgeon. "I have a great need for Christ, and I have a great Christ for my need."